Tonight, we travel back to a quieter and darker world, a time when nights were darker, forests were deeper, and the unknown felt much closer to everyday life. In the Middle Ages, people believed the world was filled with mysterious creatures. Some lived in forests, others deep in the ocean, and some were said to fly across the night sky. These creatures were not just stories to entertain children. Many people truly believed they were real. Imagine living in a small medieval village. There are no electric lights at night. The only light comes from candles or the moon. Outside the village are vast forests stretching for miles. Wolves howl in the distance. Strange sounds echo through the trees. In a world like this, imagination and fear could easily transform shadows into monsters. One of the most famous creatures people believed in was the dragon. The creature known today as the dragon appeared in countless medieval stories. Dragons were often described as enormous reptiles with wings, sharp claws, and the terrifying ability to breathe fire. Many medieval maps even marked places where dragons were believed to live. Travelers told stories of dragons sleeping inside caves or guarding mountains of treasure. Some tales claim that brave knights fought dragons to protect villages or rescue captured princesses. These stories became part of the culture of the medieval world. But interestingly, many educated people of the time did not treat dragons as pure fantasy. Some scholars tried to explain dragons as rare animals living in remote regions of the world. Another creature that frightened many medieval communities was the werewolf. The idea of the werewolf was taken very seriously in parts of Europe. People believed that certain individuals could transform into wolves during the night. Some thought it was caused by magic, curses, or even deals with dark supernatural forces. Stories of werewolves often spread after livestock mysteriously disappeared. When sheep or cattle were found dead, villagers sometimes suspected that a werewolf was responsible. In some tragic cases, people were even accused and punished because others believed they could transform into wolves deep beneath the oceans and along dangerous coastlines. Sailors told terrifying stories of giant sea creatures. One creature they feared was the legendary kraken, according to sailors. This massive creature lived deep in the ocean and could drag entire ships beneath the waves. Sailors described seeing enormous tentacles rising from the water. Sometimes they believed the creature's back looked like a small island. Ships that disappeared during storms were sometimes blamed on the kraken. Of course, modern historians believe these stories may have been inspired by sightings of giant squids or other unknown sea animals. Medieval bestiaries, which were books describing animals, both real and mythical, often included many strange creatures. These books were very popular during the Middle Ages. They were beautifully illustrated and filled with descriptions of animals from across the known world. One creature described in these books was the unicorn. The elegant unicorn was believed to be a wild animal that lived in distant lands. It was usually described as a white horse with a long spiral horn on its forehead. Many believed the horn of a unicorn had magical properties. Some thought it could purify poisoned water. Others believed it could cure illness. Because of these beliefs, objects claimed to be unicorn horns were extremely valuable in medieval markets. In reality, many of these horns were actually narwhal tusks brought to Europe by traders. Another strange creature believed to exist was the basilisk. The terrifying basilisk was sometimes called the king of serpents, according to legend. This creature could kill a person simply by looking at them. Medieval writers described the basilisk as a small serpent or a strange combination of a snake and a rooster. Its deadly gaze made it one of the most feared creatures in medieval folklore. Some stories claimed that mirrors could defeat the basilisk because the creature would be destroyed by seeing its own reflection in distant forest sand. Mountain regions, people also believed in giants. These massive humanoid beings were said to live far from human settlements. In medieval legends, the giant often appeared as both dangerous monsters and ancient inhabitants of the earth. Some medieval writers even tried to connect giants to ancient ruins or enormous bones discovered. In the ground, when large prehistoric fossils were found, people sometimes believed they were the remains of giants that lived long ago. Looking back today, it may seem surprising that so many people believed in these creatures, but the medieval world was very different from ours. There were vast regions of the world still unexplored by Europeans. Travelers returned with strange stories about distant lands filled with unfamiliar animals and mysterious cultures. Without modern science or global communication, it was difficult to separate fact from imagination. A sailor's exaggerated story could slowly transform into a widely accepted belief, and sometimes these myths may have had real origins. A giant squid seen in rough seas might become a sea monster. Fossil bones might become proof of giants. Exotic animals from faraway lands could easily be misunderstood and described as magical creatures. Yet these stories also reveal something beautiful about the medieval imagination. They show how people tried to understand a mysterious world using the knowledge they had. As the candlelight flickered in medieval homes and the forests whispered outside village walls, these creatures lived in stories, legends, and beliefs. Dragons in distant mountains, werewolves wandering under the full moon, kraken waiting beneath dark ocean waves, unicorns running through hidden forests. Tonight, as you slowly relax and drift toward sleep, imagine that quiet medieval world again, a world where the line between myth and reality was soft and mysterious. Perhaps somewhere deep in those ancient forests, people truly believed they were not alone.